This is TWiT.
The reason Zoom's in the news is because they realized that their reputation was mud, and they did an amazing thing. They turned it around very, very quickly. I'm wondering, though, what the panel thinks, if this is a real turnaround or if this is a PR turnaround. Because in the past, we've seen Zoom do the PR thing without doing the real thing. So they hired a consultant, and we've talked about this before. Alex Stamos, very famously, was at Yahoo and then at Facebook, and he's a well-respected person in security. They hired Katie Mazouris's company that is a bug bounty company to help them track down bugs and pay people for tracking down bugs. And most recently this week, and I was a little miffed, they acquired a company nobody's ever heard of except that I was a big fan of, Keybase, at keybase.io. These guys are super good crypto guys. They have about a 25-person team in New York that's really all about crypto, and they brought them in to support the end-to-end encryption on Zoom. It does put Keybase, which I had used for, I think, several years, in jeopardy. They sounds like it's an acquire. They're going to put all their energies into making Zoom secure. These are good hires, but are they what Zoom needs to do? They announced we're not going to add features. In fact, they famously lost out on a Facebook deal. They were working with Facebook on Facebook's messaging platform and had to move off of it because they said we're not going to work on new features. We're going to work on security only. They saw that as the big opportunity. What do you let's see. Let's ask Rich. What do you think, Rich? Is this real security or security theater?
I think so. No, I think it's real security. I think that this company realizes they have exactly one opportunity to become a thing. And right now, we don't know what's going to happen after this whole pandemic passes, if and when it does. Hopefully it does. So I think Zoom knows that. They know that they've caught some fire here, and they are ready to just ride that to the win. And I think they can. I think that they really can. And it's just going to take a matter of like you said, their reputation was mud in the public's eye, and of course the major media. You say Zoom and you think security problems. But I think they can get over it because I think they, like you said, they made a lot of changes in the past couple of weeks that truly do make the service more secure. And Doc, so I think they will get through.
I'm sure Alex and Katie and their reputation in the security community. But at the same time, Alex is not an employee. Katie's not an employee. It's almost as if they're putting together a team of people who can front for Zoom. Do you think they've done enough?
I just checked on several different browsers, and let's see. Am I right? Okay, they haven't. All right, so I made trouble for them. In fact, I may have started the avalanche.
What happened?
On March 27th.
Well,
I wrote a blog post.
Oh, that's right. You're the one who wrote the piece.
Yeah, I wrote a blog post called Zoom Needs to Clean Up Its Privacy Act. And then
you were the guy.
3 more after that, including, and then Eric Yuan, the CEO, reached out to me and said, and he seemed very sincere about it. I really want to fix this, and I really want your help and anybody's help. And I want to see here if they actually did the one thing I asked them to do, which is get rid of. Yeah, no, they didn't. Okay, so they still have TrustArc on. So the problem they had, and the problem I'm telling you they still have, is that their privacy policy. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, this got a lot of carriage. This Zoom needs to clean up its privacy.
Yeah, okay. It burned out my or Harvard's server for WordPress for that. Wow. But anyway, their privacy policy, because they have tracking on their homepage, they had weasel language in their privacy policy that said all the stuff you say if you've got weasel language if you've got weaseling on your homepage that allows third-party trackers to come in and keep track of the cookies that you've agreed to, even though the GDPR and the CCPA told you not to. So there's a multi-zillion-dollar business in avoiding the GDPR and avoiding the CCPA.
Yep.
And obeying the letter but not the spirit of that, which is to stop tracking people. So as long as they have tracking of some sort on their homepage, it made it look like they have tracking on everything. And I said, it makes you look like you're an advertising company. And he told me, we're gonna do what you say. We're gonna get rid of that. And I said, you're gonna have a fight with your marketing people. Yeah. He says, I know that, but
and it's not the marketing people; it's the lawyers who said,
It's
well,
the lawyers and the marketing people.
we can't get rid of that.
Yeah, the lawyers will say that. And I told him your lawyers will say it too. They're in a seller's market. They do not need they call their homepage a marketing page. It doesn't need to be. It needs to say, we're Zoom.
Was that before this whole thing, though? Maybe they thought that they had an opportunity there, but or was it just standard that every company that starts a web company just kind of does this stuff, and now they're like, we have something bigger, Well,
you say that. Let me
you're saying they haven't cleaned it up yet.
Let me read the quote, Doc, because you say, here's the thing. Zoom, and you do this in italics, Zoom doesn't need to be in the advertising business. Least of all on the part of it that lives like a vampire off the blood of human data. If Zoom needs more money, charge more or give less away for free. It's an extremely valuable service, performs well. It's a platform with lots of apps, and it should be interested in privacy. But what's interesting is it sounds like they still haven't. You wrote this. What is the date?
March 27th.
So 2 weeks ago, and they still haven't responded.
Yeah, that's about
a
years.
A month and 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
In COVID time, that's forever.
Yeah, last decade. Yeah, practically.
Yeah. And I'm sure what's happened. I think he was sincere. He strikes me as a good guy. I liked talking to him. He was very modest and quite obviously shellacked by what happened. I mean, he had in the background, his false background, which you have with Zoom, was the San Francisco skyline with all the skyscrapers there. And I said, well, what happened is all those buildings, exactly as Rich said, all those buildings drained out and all those people went on to Zoom. And then, by the way, all of church and all of education and all of government and everything else went on to Zoom, and they absorbed that somehow. And by the way, credit Amazon as well for being a back end for that, which is I'm told they are. So that's one of the reasons why they've succeeded.
It does amaze me that it works. I am just shocked that it hasn't crashed and burned.
It's remarkable.
I agree. They have not had a major crash. I mean, that is phenomenal for
no fail
for the
whale,
growth.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I mean, we haven't heard one story of that, and that everyone's waiting for that story, and it hasn't happened, which is just phenomenal. Which gives me faith in this business. I mean, I really, like I said, I don't want to like Zoom because of the way they installed their program on everyone's computer secretly, but I have to give them credit for doing something kind of right and getting us all connected in this time that we've never experienced before. They somehow did it.
So, Doc, is it safe to use Zoom now?
I think it is. We had a Mother's Day family gathering for the first time. We had our first family Zoom.
Can you comment about the China stuff? Because I know every time I mention Zoom, people say everything goes through China. Is that true? Is that not true? Where did that come from?
I have no idea. I don't know where it came from, and I have no idea.
It is not true. At one point, some Zoom traffic was routed through China. Zoom says that was an error. It isn't normally. Here's the larger issue to me. Almost all of Zoom's code is written by 3 companies in mainland China. And since their coders are in China, in my opinion, that makes them vulnerable because any company that is in China is partially owned by the Chinese government and is absolutely susceptible to interference by the Chinese government. That's just a nature of doing business there. So honestly, if Zoom really wanted to win my trust, perhaps they would start doing their coding somewhere else. Doesn't have to be the U.S. Do it in Switzerland if you want, but just China or any authoritarian state, Russia would be just as bad. That worries me a little bit.